and we are live.
Acting foolish, overdressed, confusing the crowd. You won't see me at this bar again. Happy hour, habit stars, my feet on the ground. Whiskey 7 on my cardigan. Last night.
Coming to you live from the great state of Wisconsin is the Overdue Sports Team. This is episode 2 of Call to the Pen. To my right, Jake Swinski, as always. We're a little bit late to the party thanks to some travels in the holiday weekend, but we couldn't skip this one. So we're doing the NL preview over under win totals. I've already shared my bets for the season, so if you guys have been following along, you know what I'm on in the NL. There's just one for me, but we're gonna dive into this, man. Baseball season.
I'm a little frustrating start, but that first week or two always can be a little bit frustrating. I usually start out a little slow, and then end of April I'm feeling pretty good, and that lasts about a month until it all falls apart in June. But I'm excited this time. I don't know. Last year I was a little nervous. Yeah, last year I was a little nervous because I was really bad the year before, but then last year was not that bad. Like a lot of ups and downs for sure, but I think baseball is just pretty volatile as a betting sport anyways. But I survived the whole season. Like 2022 I gave up. So let's build on having a profitable whole season. Gonna have to get back in my prop groove too. I saw you hit one today. Nice little prize pick, Slay. That was nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I missed my 2 home run. I typically do home runs. That's just kind of like I like to do that one just because the bases are a little easier, I feel like. But I don't know. The home runs are just fun. You got a big plus number on it too. And if you can hit 1 out of 4, 25% picking the right guys, you'll be okay. And I'm pretty up and down on that too. A slow start so far though. I don't know about you, but
slow start. Yeah, record is fine, but the money is not. So
yeah,
betting about 500, but down like 5 units. So it's just
I'm down I think I'm down like 6.
Yeah.
Just the 2 days were bad. Like Friday and Saturday, I was even. Like good looks.
That's how I was. I had like 2 good days and 2 bad days, but the bad days were bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. Just some weird fluky baseball stuff already. Thursday or opening day, I was just not good. But we can save that for the recap episode.
The week, yeah. We're gonna jump right in, starting in the NL West, starting with the Arizona D-backs. 84.5 is the win total. I have them going over this. A lot of people will say that last year was kind of a fluke. You know, they snuck into the playoffs by the skin of their teeth, and they made the huge run to the World Series. This is a fun team, nonetheless. Like they've got good pitching. I think like Brandon Pfaadt is a guy to watch out for. Like he turned it up in postseason. He was kind of a fade guy, like towards the tail end of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say all season, but yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, and I think he's going to take a good step this year. And then obviously you have Kelly and Gallen. And I like the bullpen enough. Like I think this team is more than capable of 85 wins. The lineup is good too. Adding Eugenio Suarez is going to be huge for them. And then obviously like Corbin Carroll and Lourdes Gurriel are awesome. And Christian Walker's coming off a career year, so I think he's going to be a staple in there. I have this team going over.
Yeah, you're going to notice this episode is going to have a huge change of pace where Will and Sam are both very much in the know about, how each roster is constructed and, all the ins and outs of each team. I take a little bit more time by just watching and betting and seeing who's doing what. But I know most of the major players. I would like the over here too. I think you hit it on the head for the most part. Like their bullpen was kind of the shaky part last year. And like they only had like 2 or 3 serviceable starters with Gallen and Merrill Kelly. And then, like you said, Pfaadt came on later on in the year. But they kind of addressed that last season at the deadline. Like Paul Sewald was their big reliever pickup, and he was huge for them in the back half.
And I think they're going to do it again.
Yeah,
he wasn't again this year.
Yeah, he wasn't very good in the World Series, but he spent the last 18 months with the Mariners like pitching really well, like until the D-backs acquired him. So, I think the pen's improved, but I still think that's kind of a question mark, I guess. I mean, it's hard to win a ton of games when you've only got 2 or 3 reliable guys in your bullpen. Like you need some guys to pitch in too. And the lineup is good. Like I mean, you've got a great mix of like veteran leadership with like Ketel Marte and Christian Walker. Corbin Carroll's awesome. Got some young guys playing well.
Sweet.
Yeah, no, I think they're going to be good. If this was 2 years ago, you could just look and be like, oh, what's the rest of the division doing since they're playing 60 games in their division? But that's not the case anymore. Like they play everybody now. So I still like this team to go over. I'm kind of with you here.
Yeah, I agree. I think this team was an 85 win team last year, and I think they're better this year. So the logic stands, like they should be around the same number. Like I don't think it's a 90 win team really, but I think it goes over.
And I mean, their case in point was like with last year, they kind of snuck into the playoffs. I mean, if the Cubs like took care of business against some bad team they were playing that last week of the season, they wouldn't have even made it to the World Series. So like I think they arrived a little bit early, but like they didn't get drastically worse in any way. Like they didn't like lose a super key player to my knowledge anyways. But yeah, I think this team's fun, so I think they're going to be really good. They opened up against the Rockies too, so that's always a great momentum builder for your season.
Push into the regular season juggernauts, Los Angeles Dodgers.
It's got to be 100,
over under 103.5. You have to go under. I can't in any capacity, although I think they very well could. Like this team has 5 Hall of Famers pending the Shohei issue, but
that's a good way.
I have to, as a bettor, I can't morally say over 103 wins.
I can. I think they're gonna go over. I wouldn't bet it though. Like I agree with your logic there. Like I just don't think there's an edge there to play. But like this team,
no, not at all.
And like they keep adding pieces and adding pieces and adding pieces. Like they're either gonna like do it one of these times, or they're just gonna like fire Dave Roberts and then they're gonna do it because the philosophy is gonna be the same, right? And like the whole thing with them, right? Like you're a Dodgers fan, I believe, right? There's no way you root for the Rockies. I know you're from Colorado, but the thing with them is it's like every year they have these realistic expectations, and in the regular season they might be a little bit disappointing, but like still very good. And they get to the playoffs relatively easily, and then they fall apart in the first or the second round of the playoffs. Eventually, they're going to do it. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's almost like the college basketball adage where like, oh, Purdue keeps losing, just write them off. Like, eventually, they're going to get through. And I feel like the more and more people think they're just discarded, or, they're an afterthought, is when they're going to do it. So if it's coming soon. Like, I think this year could be the year they actually make a deep postseason run.
Yeah, the issue for me is the bullpen. Like the bullpen
it has been.
It always has been. Yeah, and like I think Blake Treinen at his best is like a top reliever in the league. Mm-hmm. Like he can be awesome. Like Brusdar Graterol can be awesome. Evan Phillips can be really good, but they're rolling out guys like Alex Vesia, and it's like this team, like
or like a Caleb Ferguson from last year, guys like him. Yeah, you need those inning eaters to play well because it's like, okay, say your bullpen's depleted, you played all week and you're down 2, like that lineup, no lead is safe. Right. I mean, if you're down 4 runs, you could realistically expect them to get back.
They did it last night.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. My point, right? They were down 4-2.
Yep.
And
down 4-0 at one point.
Yeah, and that's the difference, right? I don't remember who came in, but it's like, can you keep the lead from growing so those bats can like get to work?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that bullpen's they're not gonna be as good as they can be if those hold the lead where it is, guys make the lead grow. I mean, it sounds so obvious, but it's really true. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like in over 162 games, you got to keep those. I think those are the guys that really have to step up because the starting pitching's there. Bobby Miller's going to be really good this year.
Bobby Miller's awesome. Gavin Stone looked awesome last night. He should be good, but he might be on innings limit, so who knows? they're just relying on a lot of young guys. Like Bueller's going to come back at some point from Tommy John
Mhm.
last year, so I
Same thing with him.
struggle.
He'll be on a leash too. Same thing.
Yeah.
So it's a bullpen. The bullpen's got to be quality, and it's not just Clayton Kershaw gives you 7. You got 2 guys going 8 and 9. Like you might have half of the games might be 4 innings of work from the bullpen. So like that
Yeah.
bullpen's got to be good. The lineup's no issue. There's no holes in that lineup whatsoever.
No. Yeah, I just have to go under. Like it's just too big of a number. Like I can't.
Yeah.
Like, it should go over realistically.
Yeah, the
but,
contrarian in me thinks it goes over just because everyone's like, "Oh, the Dodgers don't do anything," and I mean they started really slow last year and they still won like 100 games. It was
Yeah.
crazy, but I mean I think it goes over. I would never bet over 100 wins.
no.
I wouldn't even do like 95. My thing is, you can attest to this. I try to find like those fringe teams that like you kind of expect them to be okay, but like maybe you get a 3-4 game break. Like I bet an alt over on the Cubs last year. I did over 80 wins and they had like 82.
Yeah.
And I think the regular line was 77.5. So it's like I try to find those where they're a little more realistic. If you have a week of better playing, I would never touch that, but I do think it would go over.
Yeah, I agree. San Diego Padres 83.5. I'm going under. I just don't believe in this team. Like adding Dylan Cease is good. I like Yu Darvish when he's healthy. I really like Michael King, but like Joe Musgrove, I think is washed. Not a huge Wandy Peralta guy. The bullpen is okay.
Do they have Michael King? Was that like a pen day yesterday for Michael King?
No, he's going to be in the rotation.
He's going to start now? Okay. Like he's solid, but he's always he's been a long reliever with the Yankees, right? Like he was typically like your 3-4 inning guy. Yeah. I know they'd spot start him last year on a pen day. But I do like the Dylan Cease move because I think I got a buddy that's a White Sox fan. He's very high on Dylan Cease, and I am not high on Dylan Cease. Like I think the 1 year he was really good was a fluke. Like maybe that's not fair. Maybe I just I'm not super into the analytics and looking at all these advanced stats to decide whether or not a player is good. We talked about it the other day. I think it was Friday when I was at work. And like sometimes you got to use your eyeballs too,
Yeah.
Like some guy could have an expected ERA that's under 2 and his ERA is 4. It's like, well, it doesn't matter. Like his ERA is 4. Like he gives up runs. It doesn't matter if he's not expected to. He does. And I think like I'm kind of split on this one because he was in such a unfortunate situation with the White Sox last year. But if that guy could throw strikes, look out. He's got the best stuff in baseball. Like he really does. So his fastball he sits mid to high 90s. His changeup's like a drop 30. It's insane. Like his stuff is awesome. He just can't throw strikes consistently. And when he gets strikeouts, it's always in a deep count, It's 2-2, 3-2 it seems like every batter. And I mean, I think it's a good hitter. It's like a good situation for him just, logistically with the ballpark. That's typically like a pitcher-friendly park. You wouldn't think so because the dimensions are small, but that marine layer seems to keep the balls in the yard a little bit more, to my knowledge anyways. I don't think I'm making that up. Like, no. I'm curious to see. Like, he's got great stuff, and I just think it's been mismanaged a little bit. But I also think he was a little bit overrated too. So that's one I would just have to like see how it goes. It's a good move. It's good. It's like a win-win for the Padres and for Dylan Cease. But I disagree with Musgrove. I mean, I think he's still good. I think he's just struggled a little bit last year. I mean, maybe you've got some analytical nugget that says like he's washed. And he might be. I could be wrong. But like I wouldn't be willing to write him off yet. But when I look at this team, it's probably the hitting. You know what I mean? Because in the bullpen, I think the starters are good enough to, keep you in most of the games.
So is the lineup. The lineup is great. Like, I don't have any issues with the lineup.
Yeah, Xander Bogaerts and Manny Machado, Jake Cronenworth, he needs to step up. He needs to step
even
up
Tatis, dude. Like, I think he's going to be a stud this year.
Playing the
I'm not a big fan of Campisano, but he's solid. Like, I'm not super high on him, but him and Kim And then they've got some young guys like Jackson Merrill and Graham Pauley, who I think are going to be pretty solid.
Mhm.
But I just don't think this team is what people might think they are. They've got
No.
flashy names, but I am not a huge
Yeah, I mean, it's been the case with them for the last couple seasons, right? They've been all in, and it just kind of falls apart. Minus they went to the postseason the year before last, but
Mhm.
lost to the Phillies. But outside of that, they've kind of been contenders on paper, but pretenders in reality, it seems to me. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I think it would stay under as well. I mean, everyone plays 162 games, and they're not gonna, someone's got to win, and I don't know how many of these games is going to be the Padres. Losing Hader was big
Mhm.
because that's kind of been their issue for like the closing pitching has been awful for them the last couple of seasons, and Hader really seemed to alleviate that. Because like, who was their reliever before they got that Rogers?
Oh,
I always
yeah,
mix
yeah.
the two up. Is it Taylor that was on the
Taylor,
Padres? Yeah, traded
Taylor's
to
the lefty.
Brewers.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, he struggled. He led the league in saves up to that All-Star break, but
He was
also
really
led
good
the
in the first
yeah,
half.
but he also blew like 10 saves. They don't talk about that. He blew like 8 saves. I think every
Yeah.
save he blew, I bet on the Padres. It was so frustrating. I remember that, but I mean that has been their deal. Like the bullpen has been horrible, and
Yeah.
I mean that team, like you said, has a lot of star power, but like the runs don't always come in bunches with them. So those are my two focal points for that team. Would be the consistent hitting and the bullpen. The bullpen's got to
Yeah.
be present.
Yeah, I agree. Moving to the San Francisco Giants, also 83.5. I'm going over on the Giants.
If you had said that like before the season started, I might have said under, but just based on what I've seen, I like that over too. They've been hitting, like
Yep.
and I feel like last year that's something they didn't do well was hit.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like the pitching was always okay enough for them to stay in games, but they just couldn't score runs. And it seems that maybe it was just the one series in San Diego, but they've been scoring runs. So I think I like that one to go over too.
I like the makeup of the roster. Adding Soler, I know he's not going to have as many bombs as he did in Miami, but I mean, he can hit the ball out of any park he's in. Chapman looks off to a good start. I like that move. Thairo Estrada is super underrated. I like Wilmer Flores. Patrick Bailey can be really solid behind the dish. And the adding of Blake Snell, I think, is good. Part of me thinks that they're going to dish him at the deadline because he's on an opt-out deal. So if he's throwing well, they probably won't be able to re-sign him. So
not for a team-friendly deal, no.
No, and Logan Webb is obviously just a stud. And then Jordan Hicks moving into the rotation, I love that move. Like he's looked good already. And then you have Doval on the back end.
Yeah, he's one of the best closers in baseball. Do they still have Desclafani? They still have him?
No, he's with the A's now. No, he's not with the A's. Who's he with? He's with the where did he go? No, but he's not there. I can't remember where he went.
Well, I was gonna say, like, could you get him back to form because he was unreal like 2 years ago for like 3 months, but he's not there. Mute point. Never mind.
Yeah, similar issue to the Padres though. Like I don't like the bullpen outside of Doval. Like I think the bullpen is pretty much there. Like they had both the Rogers brothers who like can be good, but like you said, like it's not a complete bullpen. But I do think this team is 85, 86 wins, wild card spot. That's where I like them.
Yeah, they'll be in contention for sure. Like if you were to bet this over, it wouldn't be over by much. I mean, I think their ceiling is like 88 wins. Like that's the best.
Yep, I agree. Pushing to the old Colorado Rockies, over under 60.5.
Control Alt Delete.
Oh my gosh!
Did you see that? Did you see Nolan Jones today? Oh, that was tough.
I love him though. I'm such a Nolan Jones guy.
He's gonna be good. But
if you ask me, I hate that we're doing this on like day 4 because I actually like this team to go over preseason. So I'm gonna stick with that because this is all my preseason notes.
Mm-hmm.
Ask me right now. I don't think so.
No.
I was kind of high on like not high, but for a team that's going for 60 wins, like adding Dakota Hudson and Cal Quantrill like is serviceable for a team that's trying to get over 60.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a sinker baller. Yeah, he's a sinker baller. Like, The lineup is getting old. I mean, Blackman's on his last legs.
Hey,
Bryant's on his
I
last
can't wait.
legs.
I can't wait to hit a few Chuck Nasty home runs plus 800. That
I hit-
is my favorite guy to ride.
I hit
I
Chris
hit-
Bryant's first of the year last year.
Yeah, I hit Chuck Nasty like 3 times last year, and it's always like plus 800. I don't know why. He's got some pop, and I
Yeah.
always do it when he's facing a lefty. He's got those weird reverse splits where he hits lefties better than righties, and
hmm
they're always just super high numbers. And it's like, throw a half unit on that, you'll get 4 back. It's nice. Then when you go with the unit one, ooh, those are nice days. I love Chuck Nasty. He's my favorite Rocky.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with the over, but like to see this team be the worst team in baseball would not shock me. There's some other teams in contention for that I actually think like legitimately can be worse, and we'll get to that because they're both in the NL. But
Well, I know
well,
you
no,
already
one of them
touched
is in the
on
NL.
I know
Yeah,
you
but-
touched on the White Sox because they are definitely going to be there. Yeah, that's where my money would be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go over, but like realistically, this team might not break 60. This team might be 55. I'm gonna go over just because like that's my preseason note, but
Yeah,
I
no,
almost bet it too.
I still don't hate it. Like, I mean, the A's were awful last year, like historically awful, and they won 40 games. So, like, it's really hard to lose more than 100 games.
Yeah.
Yeah. If it goes over, it's not going to be that much, but
No. Yeah, I don't have much to say about the Rockies. I like some pieces. I really like Nolan Jones. Tovar, I think, is going to be good. Brenton
Yeah,
Doyle, if he can hit a little bit, like he'll be good. He's a freak.
yeah,
in
he's a good
outfield.
glove. Yeah, good glove.
Freak.
I mean, that's kind of the thing. Like, if they can be at all, if the pitching can at all be serviceable on the road, I think they'll be okay. Like they hit well at home, but like they also don't pitch well at home either. I mean, it's the same thing every year, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's the Rockies. Like if you work for like a local Denver sports radio station, like it's the same talking points every year. It never changes. It's the same thing. How the hell do you manage to sign like a stud pitcher
Yeah, nobody wants
to
to go
play
there.
there, play half their games there? Nobody wants to do that. And it makes sense, but it's just like it's kind of an unfortunate situation. But it's the same thing every year. They got to out-hit everybody, and that lineup can't. Like they just can't. A lot of young guys, and the older guys are old.
Yeah, on the
Like-
last legs.
Yeah, Chris. Well, I mean, Chris Bryant, I still think has a couple of years in him, but he's got to stay healthy. That's his thing. He's never in the lineup.
No.
And yeah, I mean, I think 55 to 65, it could be anywhere in between there. I don't think they're going to be the worst team in baseball, though. Everyone every year thinks they are, and they managed to, 60 to 65. I think that total's probably right around where.
That's what I think. Yeah, I think it's a pretty good number. Standings. I've got the Dodgers at 1, D-backs at 2, Giants at 3, Padres 4, Rockies 5. What do you got? Anything different?
I would probably just flip flop the Giants and the D-backs. That's probably what I would do. I think I think the Giants could. It would be that that's going to be the wild card race to me. Like,
Yeah, I
maybe
agree.
for just contention's sake, I'll put the Giants at 2 and have the D-backs at 3.
I like it.
Yeah, but I mean the Dodgers are going to win this division.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer. NL Central kicking off with the Cincinnati Reds over under 81.5. The people are not going to like this under. I just can't.
Yeah.
I can't. This team is so fun. I
You
still
saw
think
it
they're a
last
couple
year.
years.
Yeah,
I still think they're a year, maybe 2 years away.
I would agree with that too. I mean, I'm a Cubs guy, so I watch a lot of NL Central baseball. They just don't have the pitching yet.
Mhm.
The talent's there. Like that's one thing in this team that's not lacking is talent. Like they're very
Mhm.
talented, but they're all young, and
And they've got some guys that are typically hurt a lot. Like Nick Lodolo, I think can be really good, but he's always hurt.
I think he's going to be their best pitcher if he's.
I think he will be too. Yeah.
Yeah, like Hunter Green is just a power pitcher. Like he's going to get touched up. Like that's the jury's out on him. That's what all the fastballers do. they'll strike out 12 guys at one start and then they'll give up 12 the next start, But like he's wildly inconsistent. Like typically it's a little, put the genie in a bottle a little bit. He's wildly inconsistent. Big year for him. That Abbott guy he showed some good
Andrew
signs
Abbott.
last year too. Yeah, Andrew Abbott's
Pretty
gonna need to
inconsistent.
same thing, but I mean he was a rookie last year, so you're expecting him to take some strides. Noel Marte was very unfortunate for them because I think
he was going to be awesome.
Mhm.
If he didn't get suspended, I'd probably say over, to be honest.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say I think Elliot De La Cruz needs to go down. I don't know if I'm just blatantly wrong.
Nope.
Yeah, that guy's not ready to play Major League Ball yet. He's got all the intent. I mean, yeah, he's got all the tools. I mean, he's a 5-tool player. Sometimes I think him moving out of the infield would be beneficial. But then he's got a rocket arm too. So
yeah, he's got a hose. You might see a Tatis kind of move with him, like
play right field.
Yeah,
but that Encarnacion Strand guy, he's gonna be really good. Matt McClain, he's still there, right?
Awesome.
Spencer Steer,
yep.
Yeah.
McClain's hurt, but Steer is cool.
Okay, and Tyler Stevenson's still their catcher because the other guy they had catching while he was hurt was a no-go. That guy stunk. Is that Austin Barnes, Austin Hedges?
No, not Austin. I think it was Hedges. Now they've got Luke Molly, who can actually hit pretty well. Actually,
okay.
He'll be a serviceable backup. Will Benson is a good player. Like you said, like I just think this line is really accurate. Like I have them going under, but like 80 wins going under.
What did you say the number was again? So I could just write it down.
81 and a half. So basically 500.
Yeah. Oh, see, all these teams are going to be in that range from, I think the Brewers were the Pirates were the lowest at like 76, 77.
Pirates were the lowest.
And then the Cubs were the top at like 85, 86.
Yep.
Best. Yeah. So like this one's tight.
Yeah. Pushing on to your boys, Chicago Cubs, 84 and a half. I do have them going over.
It ain't by much, but I do too.
No, it's not.
It's not by much.
I mean, Bellinger got his bag, but like I think
slow start,
which is expected.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty an obvious slow start candidate.
Christopher Morel is awesome. Ian Happ is a good bat. Seiya Suzuki is a really good bat, like super underrated in my opinion. Suzuki is.
Happ's bat's a little overrated. He really struggled last year hitting.
Yeah,
but he's a Gold Glover, so he's got to be in the lineup. He's a rock out there in left field. Seiya Suzuki he had a slow start as well last year. He was hurt for a couple months, but he was the best hitter in baseball in September.
Yeah,
I mean the only other guy you could compare would be like Mookie Betts or Ronald Acuna Jr., but Seiya Suzuki was like the best hitter in baseball for a month.
And I love up the middle. Nico and Dansby is an awesome.
That's one of the best middles in the entire game.
I think it's them in the range. I put out. I think we talked about this last year before we were doing pods, but it was Dansby and Nico, and then compared to Simeon and Seager, and I was like, those are the best. Those are the best two, and like nobody else was close. And those two were like a coin flip. Like you could make a case for either duo, and I would agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, you could probably make the case for the Dodgers now too if you've got.
Now you can, yeah.
Mookie and Gavin Lux, yeah. But I mean, he's still pretty young. He played one season of pro ball, so I mean, can't even realistically say that too. But for me, it's a bullpen. Like it's kind of been the same thing as last year. Like David Ross, despite a lot of his managerial flaws, the one thing he was able to do last year was get this bullpen to pitch. They're not good. They weren't last year. Like he made a lot of bad pitchers look serviceable last year. I think from like June to August, they were like the number 2 rated bullpen in baseball. And I bet you from April and May and then September, they might have been dead last. Not a talented bullpen. And he made them look very good. He got those guys pitching really well. Mark Leiter Jr. needs to be consistent the entire year. He showed flashes. Julian Mayweather showed flashes. A guy like Keegan Thompson's probably going to be in the bullpen too. I mean, he was starting a couple years ago when they were really bad. but I'm assuming he's just going to be in the bullpen now that they've got their starting rotation ironed out. And Adbert Adzalai was really good last year. He blew the first save of the year, but he was awesome last year. Even a guy like Danny Palencia, like he throws hard and just get 3 outs. That's what they got to do. And it's just going to be a lot of bullpen with this team because I think this lineup's good enough to put up 4 runs a game for sure. Like,
yeah,
they're like the catcher hitting, hitting wise.
That's what I was gonna say.
The
as far as the
catching
lineup, that's the
yeah,
one
it's
spot for me. Where
that's
I'm like,
yeah. Like Jan Gomes he had a very good year last year for being 36 years old and expected to be the veteran leader of your team. Just kind of show the young guys how being a pro is. He was awesome last year. He hit like 280, like 270, 280. Well, what more can you ask for a guy like him, right? Dansby and Nico need to hit. Ian needs to hit. Like he struggled hitting last year. I mean, I only think he hit like 240. Whoever's playing third base most of the time, I know they kind of move guys around a lot because they can. Like Chris Bryant moved to left field when he was in Chicago. I mean, those guys move around. They can all play, infield, outfield. Keeping Wisdom out of the lineup is going to be a big key for me too.
Yeah, we talked about that.
I mean, he'll give you 25, 30 home runs, but he'll hit 200. Like he's not Kyle Schwarber. Kyle Schwarber can do that. He's probably like the only guy in the league who really can't because he outslugs his batting average, and Patrick Wisdom doesn't. But there's going to be a lot of position players playing for this team. For me, it's the bullpen. Like that's where these, the wins are going to come from. Is do we blow leads in the 7th inning?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, the rotation is good enough. Like Justin Steele is a stud. Hopefully he's not. I know he looked.
Yeah, as a hamstring, he'll be out a couple weeks, I think. But he was awesome last year. I'm expecting a little more normal Justin Steele this year. I don't think he's going to be like a Cy Young candidate, but serviceable at worst, really good at best. That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, I think that's a good estimate. Milwaukee Brewers. 77.5. I want to say this closed at 75.5. I think, but I believe 77.5 is right where it ended after they traded Burns. I'm going over here, and there's one reason for it. And I would not bet the win total if I were to. I mentioned this a while back. I wouldn't have bet this win total. I would have bet them to win the division if I were to bet anything.
Yeah, better value there. That makes sense.
It's a boomer bust team. So much young talent. Like Chourio already looks awesome. You got Sal Frelick, Garrett Mitchell, if he's ever healthy, I think can be really good. Rhys Hoskins, I loved that addition. He's already being a menace, and Milwaukee loves him already.
Yeah, I know that was a wild series in New York. But
even without Burns, like Freddie Peralta, like is an ace. And he already showed it. Like, I think he's going to be awesome this year. DL Hall, I think, needs to take a step. Didn't love what I saw in start 1, but I think he's going to be solid. And even Williams on the shelf, like, I think they still trade him at the deadline, and I still like this team. Like, I don't think this team would really miss him that much, and they're probably going to dish him at the deadline.
Evan Williams.
Even Adames, yeah. Even Adames might get shipped off. I think they're going to be in contention in there. Like this is just such a boomer. Like this team could sell off and be a 72-win team, or they could win the division. That's kind of how I see them. So that's why I'm on the over.
I'll let you finish because I've hated this team my entire life, and I do know them very well, despite hating them. And I'm very honest about it. Like it's the same team every year. It's the same team every year. 10, 15 years ago, all they could do was hit. All they could do. Couldn't pitch. Their ace was like Freddie Gallardo. That guy sucked. Don't ask a Brewer fan. Oh, he was so good. No, he wasn't. Remember when Zach Davies had 17 wins? We had a teammate in college.
That was like 2017.
We had a teammate in college who was like, he should win the Cy Young, and he meant it. It's like, you're an idiot, dude. No way. It's the same, like, they're the same team every year. The thing is, they always start well. Milwaukee always they're always in first place May 15th. They'll win 30 games by the end of May. It's June to July. Those 6 weeks from June 1st to the All-Star break is when you're going to know what this team's going to do. If they win 10 games between then, they're done. If they win 20, they're in. They typically close the season strong, but like the middle months, they're not very good. I don't know what it is either. I don't know if it's a roster thing or a managerial thing, but it just seems like they really struggle in the middle months of the season. It's the same thing every year. Look it up. I'm not even being biased. Like, it's true. Like, they do. They don't play well in the middle months, but it's like September 1st comes around. If they're 5 games out, they'll be okay. They seem to buckle down. If they're more than that, it's probably over. But the bats they did a really good job with, but they need to replace a lot of innings. Woodruff being hurt all last season, when he was playing, he was really good. Him not being there anymore, he's not on the team. They traded him, right?
No, they signed him.
They did sign. Okay, they did keep him. Good. I thought he was better than Burns, anyways, when he was healthy. Burns is just a little walk crazy. Like, Burns is really good. I'm not trying to say he's not good, but like he's a little hit or miss sometimes. But like, who were we just talking about with the hit or miss and keep like Dylan Cease, right? Yeah. It's like the same thing. It's like your bad has to be better, and your good has to be great. Like that's Corbin Burns. He does that whenever he pitches poorly. It's never like, oh, he gave up 6 runs. He'll have like 5 walks and he gives up 3. They're just meaningless. They're just totally avoidable runs. But like, they're gonna miss him because like it's steady. Like they don't always win his starts, but he's never like blow up bad. And I think the starting pitching is going to be there. You said Freddie Peralta is an ace. I don't quite buy into that. Like he's a really good 2 on any team, and he's an ace on the teams that don't have a true ace. Like he's by no means bad. He's by no means bad, but I think he's a 3 pitch. Yeah, he's a 3. Yeah, he's a 3 pitch guy. So like against the better lineups, if his stuff's not off, he's really going to struggle. But he's good. Like he's a top end 2, and he'd be an ace on maybe like 5 or 10 teams, I'd say. But the bullpen. I mean, that's kind of a recurring theme. Like the bullpens,
especially with the Central.
Yeah, because it's like the margin is so tight with all of these teams as it is. It's like they all hit for the most part. Like that's the one thing in this entire division that they seem to do is hit. Like even the Pirates. Like we haven't gotten to the Pirates or the Cardinals yet. They have bats. I mean, the Pirates might be, the least consistent of the group just because they're super young. And, I mean, the Cardinals are all old guys, but, like, Goldie is still Goldie. Arenado's finally got the monkey off his back yesterday, but he's still good, right? It's just a theme, Like, if you can snag 3-4 wins with good bullpen pitching, each half of the season, in this division, it's going to mean a lot. So
yeah. No, I agree 100%. Pushing over to the Pirates, over under 75.5. I have them going over. To me, this is the team that nobody wants to admit is good. This is the team in the MLB that nobody wants to admit is actually a pretty good team. You got O'Neal Cruz, who I think is going to take a huge leap this year. Cabrian Hayes can be really solid. I like Connor Joe.
I love Connor Joe. He's a man.
My
long lost
solid.
That's my long lost cousin. Yeah, no, we're not related, but it's funny. Like Jack Suwinski with a U. It's really funny.
Yeah, Henry Davis is going to be a stud catcher, but he's young still. And I even like the pitching. Like David Bednar is one of the best closers in the MLB. You still have Chapman, who is still Aroldis Chapman at the end of the day. You've got Jared Jones, who started on the Major League roster, who looked awesome in Game 1, and you're probably going to see Paul Skeens at some point. Luis Ortiz can be good. We'll see if he actually is. Mitch Keller
need him to step up. Up.
100%. I don't like Marco Gonzalez, but he is like the definition of innings eater.
No one likes him.
No,
Nobody likes
he'll give you
him.
two times through the lineup with 1 to 2 runs and like he basically gives you a chance to win as long as he doesn't get shelled in like the first inning. He basically will give
Yeah,
you a chance to win every time. He did the same thing in Seattle. It's
yeah,
what he's done his whole career.
yeah. No one
Um,
likes that guy.
no, I like this is just another team like you said, like this division is so tight. Like everybody is going to be within 76 to 83 wins, and that's kind of just like what it's going to be.
Yeah, and I'd be shocked if a team ran away with it too.
I would be very
They're
surprised.
all very similar teams. Like they all
Mhm.
have similar needs. Talent is similar. Yeah. I mean, I just think the Pirates are still missing a couple of the pieces they really need. Like I think they're a year out too. Like they're not going to be dog
Yeah.
shit anymore. Like that ship has sailed.
That's
I mean,
yeah.
yeah, that ship sailed. But then again, like I think they're kind of like the Brewers, right? Where they kind of like start really hot, and then they're like, "Oh, look at the Pirates, could be them," and then they just like the Brewers like tread water, the Pirates just implode. Like the ship is scuttled. You know what I mean? Like they really. Like I thought they were like, well, I mean, how many games did they were in first place until like middle of May last year,
Yeah.
right? I mean, and then like they finished last by like how many games? You know what I
A
mean?
decent amount. And the Cardinals were
Mhm.
bad last year too. So that's saying something.
Yeah, exactly. The Cardinals were awful last year to start. They got a lot better in the second half, but
Yeah.
this is going to be a situation where I think we might finally see all the guys that we were talking about in the years prior actually get shipped if they don't do anything this year. Like Brian Reynolds will probably be gone. They're very reluctant to trade Bednar. Why I don't know, because like he should have been traded 3 years ago. But like if they don't keep the hot start, I mean they swept Miami. If they don't, they're 5-0. They beat the Nats today. I bet on the Nats.
Mm-hmm.
Boo-hoo.
I did too.
But if they, you just gotta wait and see, because like if like last year happened and then they fall off, I think they're gonna get rid of the older guys or the high end veterans, because I think they're getting to the point where they have the young guys that can actually compete at the major league level. So
Yeah.
same, but this team's really similar to the Brewers to me.
Mm-hmm.
Very
A
similar.
lot of
to
young
the
talent.
Brewers.
Yeah, a lot of young talent. Just need some guys to step up. Moving to the St. Louis Cardinals, over under 84.5 under. And I put out my rankings for what I thought the divisions would finish at, and we'll get into that in a second. But people may have been surprised where I placed this team. This team is not better than last year. It just isn't. Like I tweeted. I don't know if I tweeted it. I told somebody like I actually did tweet it. Without Sonny Gray, Sonny Gray's on the DL right now, like 15 or 20 days with a hamstring thing, so he'll be back. Which I love Sonny Gray. He's like my favorite.
Yeah,
pitcher
he's really good. Yeah, he's really good.
Without him, this legitimately might be the worst rotation in baseball. Miles Michaelis stands as the number one right now, and then you're running through Lance Lynn, Steven Matz, Zach Thompson, and who am I missing? Kyle Gibson. Like that rotation is awful. And I really like Ryan Helsley, but like who knows how much work he's going to get at the back end.
Yeah,
like,
he's always hurt. But like he's
like you said, like I also said this a while back. They're assembling they assembled like the all 2016 team. Like they went and got Brandon Crawford.
Matt Carpenter's back.
Yeah, like
no.
Dude, like I can't buy it. Like Mason Wynn, I think will be good, but he's still
Jordan Walker.
Jordan Walker can be a stud. Like he can. I mean, I think he had 15 bombs last year, up and down. Like he legitimately can be like a 35, 40 home run guy at his peak. I think his ceiling is crazy. I don't think we'll see it this year, but this team is not an 85 win team. Like by any stretch. This pitching staff, dude. I think this pitching staff.
That's the problem. And I mean, they weren't good at pitching last year. That was the problem last year. I mean, they had the lineup isn't a problem. I mean, like, okay, has Brandon Crawford been playing every day? Because I don't think he has.
No, he didn't play last night. I don't know how many games he played.
And you wouldn't expect him to.
I mean, with Mason Wynn there, he'll play.
Yeah, and he's almost 40. Like, I mean, he's probably just if he plays 60 games, he's probably Oh, he's way
No,
younger than.
37. 37.
Okay, so he's pushing 40. So I mean, he wasn't very productive last year offensively, but he's still probably the best shortstop, one of the best shortstops defensively.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they made a lot of moves, like facetious moves, I guess, to your
Yes.
point. Like the pitching, yeah, Lance Lynn for round 2
Yeah.
isn't gonna work. I mean, but
Lance Lynn and
he was like really good, surprisingly, or really bad, obviously. Like he gave up so many home runs, you know what I mean? But like when he was okay, like he actually was not bad. Like he strikes
Yeah.
guys out, which is really weird because he's only like fastball, cutter, slider, changeup. Like
he's like
all
fastball. He throws nothing but fastballs. It's like 4-seam, 2-seam cutter, curveball.
Then
Like,
yeah.
it was such a
But
weird
he works so hard. Like he is a workhorse out there. Like he'll be getting shelled. He's just like, fuck it, whatever. I'll keep pitching. I don't care. Like he's gonna eat innings. He's gonna save a lot of bullpen tacks for sure. Like he's a workhorse. Big Hoss. He's a workhorse. But I mean, for me, it's like Paul Goldschmidt wasn't as good last year as the MVP season. Obviously, it's tough to follow that up. Nolan Arenado, I feel like, has been pretty disappointing at the plate since he's gotten to St. Louis, really.
Yeah.
So, like, what's he going to do? You know what I mean? But not counting, like, Matt Carpenter or Brandon Crawford or any of the other additions they made, like, there are some good pieces in this lineup. Like, Nolan Gorman's going to be really good. Is Lars Nootbaar still there?
He's not on the opening day. I don't know if he's still there.
Okay, maybe they moved on from him, but like he's a lower ceiling, but like a really well-rounded hitter. Like he puts the ball in play. He's not going to give you a ton. He's hurt, but okay, he'll be back. Yeah. He's solid. And like the two younger guys we talked about, and like Muscle Hamster's gone, but I don't think he gave you a ton on offense, anyways. Even though he's hit like opening day home.
He's gonna be he's gonna be awesome in Boston. I'm telling you, my biggest beef with this team is Ollie Marmol. I think.
He sucks.
I think he's a cancer. I saw it last year. Like it seemed like last year there was beef with him immediately in the clubhouse. Like there was that whole thing with Tyler O'Neill in like the first week of the season. You could tell Tyler O'Neill was like, "Fuck this! Like I'm out." Like he wanted out early. I think it's him.
Yeah, and then, like we watch a lot of college ball, right? I mean, not you baseball, but like me, football and basketball mostly. That shit works in college. Like you can do that stuff in college. It doesn't work at the pro level. It's like Urban Meyer with the Jaguars, right? Like the same thing. He's doing all the, I'm going to coach you guys like college, regimented, structured practices, things like that. The pros don't do that. They're like, this guy's a clown. What are we doing?
Yeah.
Like I am a professional. I get paid millions of dollars to do this. They don't buy into that. Like they tune you out. So I agree with you. I wouldn't go as far as say he's a cancer. Yours are your words, not mine.
They are. I think he's the problem.
He might be the problem.
I thought he was going to be out after last year, and they
he should. I think he should have been for sure.
Like, I think so too.
I'm not totally disagreeing with you, but I mean, like, yeah, your manager might suck, but like, also have some pride in your work. Like, you're a professional. Yeah. Like, if you're Nolan Arenado, you got to be feeling like this big because it's like you're the highest paid third baseman in baseball, like at the time, or if not the highest, you're up there. You're the best defender in baseball. Like you do that, but like they're not paying you all this money to, make jump throws from third base. They're paying you all that money to go hit. Yeah. And you don't hit. Not at the caliber you're expected to. So like I think he is like the biggest thing outside of the starting pitching, obviously. But what's he gonna do this year? Is he gonna hit in 100 runs? Is he gonna have Goldie numbers? Because that's what they signed you for and signed Goldschmidt for you guys to anchor that lineup. And like there was one anchor instead of two. So that's the biggest thing with me. I think this team, I don't know. Like you said, what was the number you said?
84.5.
I think that's a tad high.
I think so too.
I think that's a tad high. Like every team in this division is going to be 75 to 85. I don't think anybody runs away with this division.
Nope. Final standings. I have the Cubs at 1, the Reds at 2, but missing the playoffs. The Brewers at 3, the Cardinals at 4, the Pirates at 5.
I think the Cubs are gonna win. I'm a little biased there, but I think they're gonna win. I think the Cardinals are always a tough out. Like, I think if
They
they
are.
didn't start so poorly last year, I think they would have won the division. Like, if they had won half the games that they lost, you know what I mean? Like, if they played 500 up to, June, I think they would have won that division. So I would go Cubs, Cardinals, Brewers, Reds, Pirates, the traditional order. I still think the Pirates are going to fall off. They
I mean, I
shouldn't.
have them last, but
Yeah, it's gonna like the fall is gonna go from like you can't even see that. It's a stupid illustration. But the precipitous drop is gonna be a little shallower each season from here on out. They're not gonna be so bad anymore. Like someone's gotta come in last. And there's a world where any of these teams could come in last, and a world where any of these teams could win the division. Like this division
100%
isn't
agree.
very there's no standouts in this division.
But it's fun. It's a fun division. Like for as like
it's
a
always
fan, it's a really
it's
fun
always
division.
competitive. Nobody ever runs away with it. I think the last team to really run away with it was like the Cubs when they were with Rizzo and Bryant and Baez and Addison Russell.
When Javi Baez liked baseball.
Yeah, isn't that fucking insane?
He doesn't care anymore.
Just doesn't care.
He doesn't care at all.
And like that, like I mean, I wasn't on that recap show, but the Tigers are going to be good. Like I think the Tigers are going to win that division. They could be.
That's
They
what I have
could.
them. Yep.
Yeah, I think the Tigers are going to be really good. That's going to be like I like the Tigers, the Royals, the Twins, the Guards. Like all four of those teams can win that division.
Yep.
Like I think the Royals might. I think people are a little too eager with the Royals.
Me too.
Like I
think they're
still
a
don't.
year or two.
Yeah, and like people are really high on Brady Singers and that Cole Reagan's kid, and like they're solid pitchers. But Singer was awful last year, so like you don't know what you're going to get out of him.
He looked damn good this weekend.
Yeah, I mean,
I think he'll be back.
Yeah, there's just a lot of question marks with that team.
Yeah,
but like they might have the best lineup outside the Twins in the division.
Yeah,
and I mean.
Moving to the NL East, starting with the Atlanta Braves, over under 101.5. I have to go over. Yeah. And believe me, and I know I just said like 20 minutes ago, I would never bet a team to go over.
I would bet this team to go over.
I would bet this team.
They are legit. Yeah, they are. A little story. I bet the under in the White Sox Braves game, and the Braves had 9. It pushed. The Braves did everything. They just like death by 1,000 paper cuts until Austin Riley just blasted one against the wind.
This team is so.
There's
good.
no holes in this lineup. The starting pitch, like the only thing is their bullpen, because like I mean that's a legitimate concern for them because last year their bullpen was awful.
Yeah, but it's still. I mean, Rizzo Iglesias, AJ Minter, and.
But yeah, but outside of those two guys, they had it.
Yeah.
Well, Pierce Johnson is bad. He was in Colorado. I don't know how well he pitched with the Braves, but like I think the pitcher, the coach is a little more pitcher minded.
Yeah, and they added Aaron Bummer, who I think will be a little bit better. Statistically, he was the unluckiest pitcher in the bigs last year. Like he's not as bad as his numbers indicate last year.
He's
not that good, but
but a couple of my buddies are White Sox fans, and like I'd be watching the White Sox a lot. I did lose a lot of money on them, but they're just that guy is like you said, he's not really that bad, but every time he pitches, he gives up a run in like the dumbest way you could think of.
Yep.
Like I remember opening day last year, they played the Astros. It was Cease against I think it was Verlander. No, Verlander wasn't available right away. It doesn't matter. It's not the point. Cease went like 7 innings strong or 6 innings strong, gave up like 1 run. The White Sox were winning 2-1. I did hit the bet. The White Sox did end up winning, but like there was 2 outs and a runner on third, and Bummer like spiked a curveball off the plate and it like bounced away from Grandal. It's just like, and then he'll throw like wild pitches or like he can inherit runners.
Yeah,
he'll let them all come in and then he'll pitch a clean inning the next time he's out. Like he's just weird. But it's probably more of a coaching thing because I don't think he's been anywhere else besides the White Sox. So like it's kind of like, okay, now you get to play baseball. So I don't think he's that bad. His stuff's good. It's just like kind of a fluky pitcher, like you said, very unlucky.
Yeah,
but
the lineup is so stupid in Atlanta. The lineup.
Yeah, no, there's negative.
I I took out my season long props on opening day, and I have Michael Harris going over 156 hits or whatever. He's already got like 10. Like he's
I
their
know.
9-hitter. He's a freak.
Yeah, and
And
like
like I don't like Jared Kelnick at all. Like I think Jared Kelnick is not. But if anyone's going to figure him out, it's going to be Atlanta.
yeah, he just strikes out too much. You know what I
And he's
mean?
hitting
That's kind of the
300.
one thing the Braves don't do. I feel like is they put the ball in play.
Yeah.
I mean, I like Olsen will strike out, Riley will strike out, but they're power hitters. It's kind of what you expect. But Acuna is probably best player in baseball.
Yeah.
I mean, could you think of one
Albies
better
is
besides
crazy.
Shohei Ohtani? Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
Betts. Like
Well, I mean, from September, yeah, Mookie Betts. But yeah, there's no holes. Like you sit one of those guys or two of those guys or even three of those guys. That's when you're like, okay, there's a hole. Like the bench is deep. Like
yeah.
they had Eddie Rosario last year. He's on the Nats now, but
Mhm.
like he was solid for them too. Like there were no holes in that lineup, and it's the same thing. It's really just bullpen, like the deep
Mhm.
bullpen. Like they have 3-4 very high leverage arms in the bullpen, but after that, that's where the issue was last year. Because like AJ Minter wasn't fantastic last year at times, right? Your closers are typically up and down, but like they
Yeah.
struggled. They struggled in the summer with the bullpen pitching. So like if they address that, like I think they're gonna go back to the
This team
World
is
Series.
nuts. It's
They're all on team friendly deals too. They're gonna be there for a
Mhm.
long time.
Yeah. Moving over to the New York Mets over under 81.5. I have them going under because the Mets are gonna Met. I just
I don't get it.
I don't either. I mean, I don't love the rotation. Quintana's solid. Severino might be good. Who knows? I mean, he can be.
You didn't see him.
Sometimes he's-
You didn't see
sometimes
him
he
last
stinks.
year.
You know?
Yeah, you didn't really see him. You don't know.
They went and got Hauser from Milwaukee.
Brewers.
He came over. Yep. They got Sean Manaea, who was good a couple years ago. I like the bullpen. Like obviously Edwin Diaz can be
Yeah,
the best, if not the best closer. And Adam Ottavinos, even though he's a little bit older now, he's still got some juice in the tank. I mean, he's pretty
yeah, that's the one thing I felt like the Mets always did okay with was their bullpen pitching. Like they had one or two
Yeah.
guys who, like when it was really out of hand, it would just get shelled. But like if the game was close, it stayed close for the most part. Like their pen's pretty solid, and it's not even like, oh, can this team hit? It's just like, will they? Because they can. Like, what's Francisco Lindor gonna do? You know, Pete Alonso's the only real
Yeah,
constant in that lineup.
Yeah, I like some of the young guys. Like Francisco Alvarez, I think is going to be awesome.
Mhm.
Like he's probably going to be one of the better young catchers in the game. But like Brett Beatty, like this is kind of his last chance to show that like he can compete at this level before I think they have to send him back down. They went and got Zach Short, who was like a platoon guy for the Tigers last year, who will
Mhm.
fill in when Beatty.
Yeah, he was all right.
Yeah, he's solid, but so he'll
Mhm.
fill in like when Beatty struggles, and then you got Jeff McNeil, who's like a perennial 290 hitter, but like is nothing.
Yeah,
bad
he was really he wasn't good last year. I mean, just
No, he's
off
just
that batting
different.
title.
But like
yeah,
you just know what he's gonna get. Like
Mhm.
you know relatively what he's gonna give you. Same with the outfield. Like I like Starling Marte, but like Harrison Bader's okay. Brandon Nimmo is okay. I just like this might be the worst team in terms of like talent to payroll.
yeah, they pay a lot of
Agree with that?
money for some of those guys, and
Yeah.
they don't. The ceiling's pretty low. And I mean,
Mhm.
like to your point, I feel like this is what's going to be the make or break for them. It's like, will any of those guys overperform?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I feel like there's it's really Lindor and Alonso are like the only two in a position that are like, okay, you can be disappointing this year. You know what I mean? Like Jeff McNeil's like, sure, he might hit 300, but like, what's he gonna do? Drive in 50 runs?
Probably.
They're never on base. He's not gonna hit a home run. You know what I mean? Like Brandon Nimmo's a really solid leadoff hitter. I feel like
Yeah.
he gives you a lot of pop, sneaky pop. Starling Marte, same thing. It's like he's older too. It's just like how much you really expect out of him, and I feel like that's kind of it. It's like who's gonna like overperform for this team
Mhm.
outside of the two I mentioned, because it's like I feel like their ceilings are low. talent wise. I mean,
I think that's a really good way to put it. Before we move, you got them over under 81.5.
Under. I mean, this team's just disappointing.
Philadelphia Phillies over under 89.5. I have them under, but in the playoffs. To me, this is not a team that's built for 162, but is terrifying in the playoffs. Zach Wheeler and Aaron Nola, even though Aaron Nola got touched up in start one, are like one of the best 1-2 combos. The bullpen is good. Like Connor Brogdon is solid. Alvarado, solid. Dominguez is solid. And they've got Gregory Soto now. I like Ranger Suarez and Christopher Sanchez. I think they're underrated. Like
out of the pen, yeah. Ranger Suarez not so much starting, but out of the pen, yes.
The lineup, I mean, is just crazy.
It's the same damn thing. Yeah, they feel like they kept everybody minus Hoskins, but he didn't play at all last year, so it's the same lineup.
To me, a lot of pressure goes on Alec Boehm. Like, I think Alec Boehm is a guy that I think is better than what he actually is. Like, every year I'm like, he's going to be damn good. And then he's like, okay.
Yeah.
He performs every year.
Yeah, but not like terribly so.
But not bad.
Like,
No.
No, like what he hit like 260 last year.
Yeah, I just think he's better than what he's
it leaves a little on the table. He's never like bad, right?
And then obviously you've got Harper, Turner, Stott, Castellanos, and you got old Kyle Schwarber who's going to hit $170 but hit 45 bombs. So.
Yeah, he'll slug 800, lead the league in slug, dead last in average. I guess this might be a little unique, but are they gonna like figure out a lineup configuration that way they don't leave any defense on the table if one of those guys has to miss some time? Because you saw Schwarber playing left field last year.
It's a horrible defensive outfield.
That was a disaster. Horrible. Yeah, did they move Harper back out there now that he can
he's
throw
at first.
again?
No, he's playing first.
Who's their outfield?
It's they went and got they got Whit Merrifield from Toronto.
Okay,
so he'll be out there. Brandon
solid.
Marsh will be out there. Castellanos is not good defensively, but he'll be out there. You'll probably see some Schwarber, maybe some Christian Pache, maybe Harper a little bit.
Yeah, you got to keep Schwarber out of there. I feel like, maybe
that's him being at first.
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of a weird way to analyze a team, but like, can they just get some defensive contribution in their lineup, like so they can field a balanced lineup? Because that was a glaring weakness last year.
Yeah, and that's why I like them as like a postseason team, but not the win total. Like defense is a stat that typically is like more so important over not more so important, but like it's magnified over 162 because you have such a huge size. Whereas like you can
it all evens out
without defense. Yeah. Like you can 100% go in there, play bad defense, and get yourself to a World Series. And that's why I think this team is like good playoff team. Not built for 162.
Yeah, I can get behind that. I mean, I feel like this team wins like 91 games.
Yeah, and they could like full year of Harper. Like keep in mind they missed Harper for half the year last year, so they easily could.
Yeah, and they responded really well with them too, because I mean they were like dead last in baseball to start.
They were kind of down and out for a while, and
Harper
they came
kind of brought them back to life.
I like the pitching. Like I think the pitching is good in a postseason format, not necessarily over 162. That's just my thing with this team.
Yeah, I mean most teams are good pitching wise in playoff format, just because you only go 3 deep, and their 3 are very good. That is certain. So, I mean, we're not going to say anything crazy. This team's going to be good. It's just how good.
Yep. Pushing on to, I've put this out plenty of times. It's my one NL bet. Miami Marlins over under 78.5. I hammered the under. It closed at 77.5. Potential for the worst team in baseball, if you ask me.
They don't look good.
Jesus Luzardo is the number 1, and I really like him, but he's not a number 1. Would not be a number 1 on any other team. He's a very solid number 2. They had to move AJ Puck out of the bullpen to the rotation. I don't think that's going to work for them.
No,
this bullpen, they won 83 games last year, or 84. and they were a bottom 10 bullpen, and they went and got rid of David Robertson, who's not a great name, but
Solid. He's
very
solid.
very solid. And they had to bump AJ Puck into the rotation, so you lost like 2 of your best rotation guys. Ton of pressure on Puck, who you don't know how he's going to like hold up over the year with that new role. Sixto Sanchez is like one of the biggest unknowns. I feel like he's like the best 10th year prospect ever. It's always very highly touted as a prospect, but he's been that way for like 5 or 6 years. And then you've got some guys that are hurt, like Edward Cabrera, who's MLB The Show legend, but walks like 9 per 9.
He's
it's
not
crazy.
Good. He's not good.
The stuff is good, but like this team is just
when I say they're not good, they're not playing well. It's not that they can't play well or they don't have intangibles to be good, obviously, but like he's just not good. He has not put it all together.
The lineup, I'm not like Tim Anderson was a good signing, baseball signing. Like I've got no beef with that signing. I just don't think he's not Tim Anderson from 2018. Good enough as a plug. Josh Bell, who knows what you're going to get. They had a lot of guys last year that are coming off of career years offensively. That was like my big thing to fade them because so many guys overperformed. Jake Berger is probably going to hit 30 home runs. He's terrible. This team is really bad defensively.
Yeah.
Luis Arraez is batting title type guy. Whatever. We know that. Jazz Chisholm, I think, is extremely overrated. He has yet to prove anything. He's playing well so far, but we'll see.
The guy can't hit a left-handed pitcher.
No.
That's insane.
I just don't like this team. I think it's a really, really bad team, and I was pretty happy to see them start off 0-4.
Well, I mean, it could have easily been 2-2.
Yeah,
those were 2 close ones. But I challenge you on this one a little bit, not because I necessarily disagree with what you were saying. It's just like they weren't that good last year, and they won 84 games. You know what I mean? Like they were very average last year, and they managed to get it done. So like for me, it was just like, who's to say they can't do that again? You know what I mean? It's like what the reasoning you're saying makes total sense. It's just like, is it a little obvious? Like, yeah, everything's gonna come crashing down. Well, the way they played, it looks like it's gonna. They don't look good. So you're off to a good start. But then again, I wouldn't be shocked if they just kind of played 500 ball all year. I wouldn't be shocked at all if they won 78 games. I'd be shocked if they won too many more than that. But I mean,
yeah.
They have the hitting, I feel like. I mean, the defensive
They got some bats.
side, they have bats. It's their pitching's bad. Like, I mean, they won all those games without Sandy. Like Sandy's not
and they don't have him
this year. They don't have him this year. But yeah, that's the thing with Sandy. He's a gamer and he eats innings. It takes a lot of pressure off that bullpen. But like Sandy wasn't good last year. He wasn't. I think he was hurt all year, and like it finally, okay, you're actually hurt now. Like he wasn't Sandy last year, and they won 84 games. You know what I mean? So it's like I wouldn't be. I'm not saying like, oh, this team's gonna win be in a wild card spot. I'm not saying that at all. They're not that good. My point is like they weren't even that good last year, and they managed to win 84 games. I mean, you lose a big bat like Solar Power. That's a joke we used to have. He's on the Cubs. But you're losing a big bat in Soler, probably your best hitter. I mean, pop wise, Arias is probably your most balanced hitter, but like 2 home runs this year. They weren't that good last year. That's all I'm saying. It's I agree. I wouldn't be shocked if they won 80 games. Just played 500.
It's a big step from last year. So that line is like really far down from what they did last year. So I'm betting on them to win 7 less games than last year, which is a good amount of wins.
Yeah, and that makes sense. I mean,
yeah.
I just, like I said, I don't know. I wouldn't be shocked if they won 80 games. That's all I'm saying. Everything you said makes sense, though.
You got them over under?
Well, I said I kind of like them to go over at the beginning, but I'll keep it. But I do not like that at all. They look, they pitch well. They can't hit. they hit well, they can't pitch. But it's been like that with the Marlins forever.
Yeah.
Like
Not a team that's
they're
consistently
just mid.
successful.
Like they're like just a mid team.
Yeah.
Like I don't know.
Final team, Washington Nationals, over under 65.5. I didn't know what to do with this one. This was honestly one of the harder ones in the NL for me. I have them over, but it's like 66 if it's over.
Here's what I'm gonna do. Last year everyone thought the Nats were gonna be like the worst team in baseball, and they were a little surprising. I think this year they're actually gonna suck ass. This team's not good. Like outside of Joey Meneses and Lane Thomas, who else and CJ Abrams, who else do you really have on this team?
CJ Abrams is going to be good, but I think that's a really good point. Like Keibert Ruiz, actually, I like a lot behind the dish. But yeah, other than that, it's like, who do you have? Like, what is Jesse Winker really going to give you?
He didn't give anybody anything. He was good 1 year.
Awful in Milwaukee.
He was good with the Reds 1 year, and I think Mariners gave him a shot, or maybe the Mariners was before the Reds. I don't quite remember. So he was on the Mariners, wasn't he, for a little stint, or am I thinking of somebody else? But he was awful for Milwaukee. I know a lot of the Brewer fans were pretty excited for him, and he was just terribly disappointing.
And the pitching is
not great. We were complaining about Mackenzie Gore earlier. I think that guy is so overrated. And it's like baseball fans, not just, I like baseball or I like the Nationals. It's like guys that are on Twitter and very into baseball like him, and I don't know why he's not good. I'm sorry. He's just if you bet on him, he sucks. If you're I'm sick of betting on this guy, then he reels you back in. Same thing with Josiah Gray. I bet on him opening day because the whole thing with him was, the guy can't pitch at home, but if he's on the road, he's solid, and he gets shelled. It's dude, how can't you pitch at home? It makes no sense. I just don't get it.
And then you've got Patrick Corbin, throws 70% sliders. And
he's still serviceable. It doesn't make any sense. He
frustrates me. I love fading him, but he always.
I love betting on him.
Yeah, you did that for a stretch in the summer last year. I remember.
And it worked.
Patrick Corbin Day.
It's Patrick Corbin Day.
I do like Kyle Finnegan at the back end of the pen, but
and the Harvey guy too.
Hunter Harvey, yeah, he's
Hunter
good too.
Harvey, yeah. We were talking about that offline though. That's the only two serviceable pitchers in their bullpen they have. Otherwise, it's all.
Yeah, not a big fan of that team.
I think they're going to be really bad.
I think you've swayed my opinion, but I have every team going under in this division outside of the Braves. I usually try to do 2 and 3, 2 overs, 2 unders. So the Nats by default ended up with an over, but the more that I look at that roster, and that you might be right. They might actually be one of the worst.
Yeah, I think bettors kind of missed the boat on them last year. I think a lot of people were like, "Oh, this team's going to be really bad," and they were kind of surprising. They lost. I mean, I don't they went over. I think it was they were supposed to be 100 loss team. I think they won 65 games, maybe a little more. But they were in the boat of losing games, but we're always pretty competitive for parts of the game. It's not every game they played the A's. Oh, you're down 6-0. It's the second inning. Every game wasn't like that. But I think this year it might be you guys were right this year, not last year. I think they're gonna be really
I think you're onto something. There. I like that. Final standings in the NL East. I got the Braves at 1, Phillies 2, Mets 3, Marlins 4, Nats 5.
I think that's the only logical one.
I just don't I don't see the Mets flipping.
No, for controversy though, I'll put the Mets at 3rd, Marlins at 4, Nats at 5.
No, that's what I have. I've got Marlins at 4th, Mets at 3rd.
I'll say the Mets suck really bad. I'll put the Marlins at 3rd. I'll just switch those two.
Do the opposite. Yeah.
Yeah, but
this division to me is
it's
every
the Braves.
the teams are really far apart though. The difference in the Braves and Phillies is big, and the difference between the Phillies and Mets is big, and the difference between the Mets and Marlins I think is significant, and same with the Marlins and Nats. I just feel there's
it's really unusual. I think the more unusual piece of it though is the Braves being far and away better than the Phillies, who are good too.
Yeah.
That's what's really unusual. It's kind of like the same thing with the Dodgers and the Padres
D-backs.
or
Or yeah,
D-backs.
usually the Padres. Yeah.
Padres or D-backs or Giants, whoever wants to take second in that division. Like they're head and shoulders above. And like it was like that with the Astros for a long time in the in the AL West until, the Rangers kind of started to put together a club there, but like the AL East is always like very good. Like the Yankees were horrible last year, right? Everyone's like,
Mhm.
"Oh, fire Brett or fire Aaron Boone, whatever his name is, Aaron Boone, fire Aaron Boone." And it's like he had like a minor league team play 500 ball. I don't put
Yeah,
up with Boone.
it's-
I don't put up with Boone slander. Like he might be a bonehead, like in press conferences, and some of the stuff he does is like it's a little weird. But like, dude, he had a minor league team. Jake Bowers was like their starting first baseman or whatever the fuck. It's like that guy should get a little bit of credit for that. That team should have won 60 games and they won 82.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Stanton was
true.
out all year, Rizzo was out all year, Judge was on the shelf for a while. Like they did just fine given who they had. That team is bad without Aaron Judge last year.
Yeah.
They're horrible.
Really bad.
Like they had
Really
they had no business winning 82 games, and they did. And I think Yankees fans wouldn't say it, but I think he deserves some credit for that. But
Yeah.
but yeah, you know what I mean though. Like all the talent there is kind of like condensed at the top. Like
Mhm.
the AL East is a pretty balanced division. Like it seems like the Orioles this year are going to run away with it, but then it's like the Yankees and the Blue Jays aren't really that far behind.
And the Rays. The Rays always find a way to
Yeah,
win it.
but like this year it seems like they never seem to be like, oh, they're going to be that good.
Yeah.
I think just with last year them finally exploding is what was like, okay, like this group's talented. If they didn't start out like they did last year, I don't think we would have perceived them a ton differently than a normal Rays team. Like they're always solid, they're never bad. But like that start they had, like they tailed off at the end of the year.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, it's
For
hard not
sure.
to when you win. What they won like 50 in the first half. It was crazy. Like
Yeah.
whatever there was.
Yeah, but like
It's
there
nuts.
were a couple holes in that lineup too that they kind of
Yeah.
just outproduced, Like Yandy Diaz was awesome.
Yeah. They get the most out of guys. They get the most out
Yeah,
of
and
like
it's just
Dodgers in that way. Like they get a
Yeah.
lot out of guys that probably aren't that actually like they get a lot of guys to overperform them that otherwise are probably not that good.
I think it's a lot of their style of play too. That
Mhm.
analytical based baseball just kind of puts those guys in a position to succeed a little better than other managers do. But
Yeah.
yeah, but I mean, I guess that's kind of what's unusual about the AL or the NL East is like there's no like condensed group of talent. Like the Braves are on paper like much better than the Phillies. It's insane how good the Braves are.
Legitimately, we could see a 10-win difference between every team in the standings of this division.
Yeah, 190, 80, 70, 60. That's kind of wild.
And I wouldn't be surprised. I'd be like, yeah. Like that's
Yeah.
crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like this race I think is going to be so boring.
Yeah, most years it is, and I think a lot of fans are always dying for the Phillies to like try to knock off the Braves, but they just never do. The Braves are always have 80 wins by August. It seems like, or middle of August they have 80 wins. It's like, well, okay, that's over.
Yeah.
I mean, well, like didn't they lose like 2 games in June last year?
I don't know, but they went through a crazy stretch last year.
Well, it's like every June or July they lose like 3 games. It's insane. I don't know. Yeah, there's not much to
No.
brave. I mean, the Phillies would have to be insane to keep up with the Braves. Like the Braves just make it so effortless,
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, the Dodgers should be like that too, but it's just like sometimes the Dodgers just don't do it, like whatever. The Braves are always there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, that's our show, folks. Be sure to check us out on Twitter at Overdue Sports, overduesports.com. Like and subscribe. Hopefully, you guys are enjoying the Call to the Pen episodes. We're going to be running another one next week. Small sample size overreactions. I'm really excited for that one.
Yeah, I
That's my
am
favorite
too.
part. This is like my favorite week of baseball because everyone just hits the panic button when their team starts off like 1-3.
Mm-hmm.
So looking forward to doing that over the weekend, and we'll make sure you keep checking us out. We got a lot of stuff coming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Pirates are winning the pennant. Yeah, stuff like that. It's my favorite.
Stuff like that. I love it. It's so funny.
Even though I think like the Angels being the worst team in baseball, that was going to be one of them. I'm sure you had that one too.
It could be.
I think that one might actually be true. They are fucking horrible.
Well, we're out of here, folks. Check us out.
This avenue signs a shamble. You only get so far.